You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey there, GH fans. It's Belinda from Soap Dirt, and we're here to talk about who is tormenting Ava Jerome. There's one obvious candidate, and whatever something on a soap is painfully obvious, that's a red flag that it's probably not that person. But let's dig into all the clues and who might be the person messing with her head and why I think there's a chance it might be somebody completely off of viewers' radar. Just maybe. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And now let's dig in. But first, I just want to say really quickly, a shout out to all the GH Emmy winners. GH kicked absolute butt at the daytime Emmys. I was so impressed. The late great Sonya Eddy won a posthumous award as Epiphany Johnson in the Best Supporting Actress category. And Robert Gossett won as Best Supporting Actor for his role of Marshall Ashford. Eden McCoy, aka Jocelyn Jacks, won in the Younger Performer category, and Allie Mills absolutely deservedly won Best Guest Performer for her killer turn as Crazy Heather Weber, and GH also won as the Best Daytime Drama. They did not win for Best Writing, which I found really bizarre. That YNR won because I watch all the soaps, and I definitely think that GH has the tightest plots. But you know, I guess they didn't want to have a clean sweep for GH, right? And B&B did win in the lead actor and actress categories, but definitely GH earned all their trophies this year. Plus, the ceremony had a touching tribute to the late Tyler Christopher, who of course originated the role of Nikolas Cassadine. So congrats to everyone, and of course condolences about the loss of Tyler, which continues to be terribly sad. And now let's talk about the mess that Ava has found herself in. So Ava's first message from the person that killed Austin Gatlin Holt was a photo of his recently shot corpse with the note that read, "You're welcome." And then the next message came to her new apartment, which is her old apartment that she had sold to Nina, who's now leasing it back to her. I think I've got the real estate liens and ownership straight on that. So this next one came with another photo of the same and said, "Don't tell anyone." And then the next note came right afterwards and said, "You never know when you'll need it," and came with a handgun, as if Ava Jerome didn't already own a gun or two or five. I mean, when I saw that, I kind of wondered, is that some kind of sign that the person targeting her has no clue that she's always packing heat, or that it was just part of their weird gaslighting stuff? All right, so let's talk about the most obvious candidate, and it's the one that Ava Jerome assumes it is, and that is her not-so-dead ex-husband, Nikolas Cassadine. Of course, Nick feels like he's got plenty of good cause to torment Ava. After all, she nearly killed him after he cheated on her and impregnated Esme and then threatened to mess with Avery Corinthos. Then Ava left him for dead, and it was only the intervention of Dr. Austin Gatlin Holt on the orders of Cyrus Renault that saved his life. Plus, Ava just sold off his beloved Windermere, and a mystery buyer purchased it. All of these things certainly hint that Nikolas might be back, but that doesn't mean he's the culprit in these deeds. To me, he feels like too obvious of a candidate just for my liking. I'm also not entirely sure why Nikolas would kill Austin when he saved his life and nursed him back to health. I mean, he would be dead if not for Austin's medical expertise. So we have to assume the same person sending the notes is probably the same person that killed Austin, just because of the Polaroids of his dead body. Either they did the killing or they followed the killer and took the pictures. And with GH, you never know. All right, so next, you have to think about awful Cyrus Renault. I definitely suspect he is too ominous to ignore as a possible tormentor of Ava. Sonny convinced Laura Spencer, who then convinced Martin Gray that their brother did not murder Austin, but he could have had a flunky do it. Sonny seems to think Cyrus doesn't have the resources to make it happen, but I disagree. I'm not sure Sonny knows the extent of Cyrus's Pawtuck Hillbilly mafia network, and he had piles of money from his years of drug dealing before going into the prison system, and he was still engaged in crime from the inside, so he was probably still making money. And the most important thing, as far as I've seen, and I think this is completely accurate, Sonny, Laura, nor Martin are aware that Austin was planning to cut a deal to throw Cyrus under the bus. Of course, Dante knows it and Robert knows it. Robert wouldn't have told Sonny for sure, nor Martin. He might have told Laura, but so far I haven't seen him telling them, and I haven't seen Dante telling them. So that's a huge issue that absolutely could mean that Cyrus killed Austin or had him killed. And that means he definitely could be the one messing with Ava's head. He denied killing Austin when Ava talked to him, but there's no telling what that guy would do. So I don't think we can count Cyrus out though. But again, he's also a pretty obvious target, which makes him less likely to be it. So one interesting theory I've seen some fans kicking around that I think is worth talking about is that it might be a very bad man back from the dead, like Ryan Chamberlain. So he looked very definitely dead after Max Scorpio shot him when Ava failed to pull the trigger. And we do know Ryan takes a dim view of other men being in her bed, and he considers Ava his great love, his soulmate, you know? And Austin was recently warming Ava's sheets. So yeah, if Ryan somehow survived, I don't think he'd have any qualms about shooting Austin and sending Ava creepy notes and a gun. In fact, it seems like this whole scene would be just to his liking. But a lot of times with Ryan, it's messy hands-on crime. A lot of knife work, decapitation, things like that. You know, a clean shooting seems less like him, but the whole tormenting with the note seems very much like Ryan. And speaking of Ryan Chamberlain, here is my other wild notion for you to consider. I haven't really seen this on Soap social media, but maybe it's out there and I just missed it, but this just floated into my brain. So supposedly dead Ryan is not the only Chamberlain in Port Charles. Don't forget, he's got a daughter. And yes, Esme Prince Chamberlain supposedly has amnesia and has turned over a new leaf. But what if she hasn't and is just as heinous as she always was? And what if she's still taking her dad's orders from beyond the grave or still carrying out the mission that he wanted her to? I mean, I know it's kind of a wacko notion, but remember, most of the plots that Ryan had Esme engaged in were ultimately about him getting Ava back in his life. Remember, Esme tormented Ava for quite a while, a couple of years ago, with Spencer Cassadine at her side joining in. Remember, she set Ava's car on fire and left her dead daughter Kiki Jerome's ID to torment her. And what's happening right now kind of reminds me of the sort of stuff that Esme was doing to Ava Jerome before. And I don't think Esme is on Ava's radar because of this whole, amnesia sweet girl thing. At the time, it got so bad that Spencer even thought Esme was crossing lines. And that was back when he despised Ava more than anything in the world. And of course, Spencer wound up doing jail time for things that were Esme's crimes. And do not forget that when Ava and Esme argued at Windermere, Esme wound up going over the parapet. So here's the question. How would this work given that Esme seems like she's being a pretty decent mom to baby Ace and a busy employee at the Invader? Oh, yeah, and an amnesiac. So I know a lot of you guys suspect that she is not really an amnesiac. Maybe she is, maybe she's not, or maybe she is, but only partly. I know that sounds weird, but don't forget, Esme's two biological parents are both criminally insane. So while I'm speculating, let's take it one step further. What if Esme is half amnesiac and half psycho, like her parents? Imagine if she's doing bad deeds in her spare time and her saner amnesiac half doesn't even remember doing them. That could include killing Austin, perhaps to punish him for saving Nikolas's life, a man who held Esme captive at Windermere while she was pregnant and put her baby at risk. I could totally see Esme doing all of this and then gaslighting Ava because this is the kind of thing Esme did at her worst. She doesn't seem so crazy now, but maybe she is and is either keeping it hidden or, there's some kind of thing where she's losing time and we just haven't seen it. So at least Esme would be a much less obvious choice than either Cyrus or Nikolas. And I don't see Brenham, the new villain in town, as having a reason to kill Dr. Austin Gatlin Holt. So that's the last of my theories. Of course, there are no spoilers yet about who it might be, so it's a fun time to speculate and discuss possibilities. So definitely drop your comments and be sure to tell us who you think might be messing with Ava Jerome. And please click subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss a thing. And come back soon for more GH News. We are here talking General Hospital 7 days a week. And as always, this is Belinda from Soap Dirt.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.